Alright, so I'll show you how to go ahead and take the string off. So the string's already broken, so I'm going to take this fifth string, which is the A. Okay, this is the A. So I would unwind this completely. In your case, it's already off probably, but you want to take all that string off. So go ahead and take it all off, and eventually it'll come off. So you see how it came off? Okay, so now I want to go down to the peg area right here, and then using this guitar little contraption, you probably should have one of these things. You go ahead and lift it up with the peg there, and then you just kind of tilt it and it'll pop straight out. Like I said, if you don't have this peg, you can use a little small screwdriver and carefully try to wedge it out. So eventually you can pull this peg out with, like this, watch. Just like that. See that? Go straight in and out. Alright? As you notice, the string will basically come right out with a little notch there. You'll notice that this peg has a notch as well. Eventually that little metal round thing that you just pulled out will be fitting right onto that little round notch. Okay, so keep that in mind because we're going to put it back the same way. So for now you can just put this back in a hole just to keep it there. Okay, your extra string is basically pretty long. You'll notice that there's a notch, like I mentioned before, and it's very, very long. So there's the tip of the other part. That's the part that's going to go into your into the tuner part, the peg on the top of the guitar, right here. The way to start is to go ahead and take this round part, right, and then the peg that you pulled out earlier, right, and you're going to watch carefully. What I'm going to do, I'll keep it up here, is I want you to, it's kind of like a cylinder, so that round part needs to go right along basically the little notch on the peg, okay, on this little peg. I know you can't see it as well, but the idea is that it's just basically going to go on the round part when it turns. So you put in the string first in that direction, and then the peg where that little notch that you saw will basically be facing towards the string. Okay, and you basically want to push it straight down. Okay, and once you do that, all you do is give it a little jerk, just like that. And what that's going to do is hold that string in place because the peg's now locked in. Sometimes the peg will pop back out, but it's easy to pop it back in. Okay? Alright, so we just finished popping that peg, the string into the peg, and we're going to take this other side, okay, the real thin side, so don't poke yourself there. I want you to go ahead and make sure that the fret, I'm sorry, not the fret, but the tuner here, you thread it in. So you'll notice that the strings on your guitar, all the strings would basically be turning from these pegs from the inside out. So what that means is that as you string the guitar string onto these little tuners, you're going to start, like for instance, I'm doing a fifth string. I'm actually going to make it go counterclockwise. So I'm going to make sure that I stick in the string into that little hole. I'm going to pull it through and give it some slack, enough slack so that maybe I could turn 2 or 3 times around this little the tuner head here. Okay? So what I'm going to do is that once I do give it some slack here, you see that slack? I'm going to go ahead and then give some tension onto the tuner here, and I'll start turning the knob. So I'm turning the knob right now, and eventually it's going to go, in this case, counterclockwise. Okay, and making sure the extra string goes over the top of the string that you're holding with tension. Okay, so I'm going to keep on doing this right now. You notice it's just going around a few times, and while you're holding this other your right hand on this one string, make sure that it's fitting into that little notch right at the neck. Okay, and just keep on going. So I'll keep on doing that. Of the string, make sure it's hand tight. You'll notice now that basically you're gonna make sure that you pull this thing here, just to make sure it's tight on the peg that we just put in. Okay, just pull it a little bit and make sure it's on there. Okay? Okay, so once you have the string on, it looks pretty tight. The peg's now coming out, this one part here, that's good. And then the way that you wound it around this this peg here, it looks pretty clean. You can then go ahead and get a wire cutter and just snip this off, okay? And then discard this extra piece carefully, because it actually pokes, and you can actually poke your skin, so be careful of that. So the last thing basically is to tune your guitar, which you probably have a tuner, so you can just go ahead and tune it. Most likely when you change a string, what I would suggest doing is that, since you've had other strings, you may want to consider just changing all of them. That way, when you actually change them all, it sounds actually much better. Also, if you only change one string, you need to tune your guitar, and chances are you may have affected the other strings, so you would have to tune those as well. Okay? So that's basically it in a nutshell. Just to summarize, basically remove all the string off the guitar, off the pegs. Okay, you pull out the peg. Make sure that when you pull it out, notice a notch on the peg. When you put in the string later on, that little cylinder, kind of like a little can, right? That round part basically goes along that notch. So you will slide the string, and then you put the peg in, and then you give it a slight pull, so it'll get locked into that notch. And then from there, you go to the top. Make sure that those strings are the pattern should go from the inside out, so that way that from these top pegs here, which is the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, will go counterclockwise as you tighten them up. In the bottom 3 cases, the 3, 2, 1 strings, you would be doing clockwise. Okay, so that way you'll tighten it up clockwise. All right? Any questions? Just give me a call. Bye.